Kia ora koutou and welcome to Frogs on Friday. Sorry we're a little bit late launching off our live broadcast today. I think it must be the beautiful spring weather and we were enjoying it a little bit too much, but let's crack into things. So as usual, today we'll go through Mahi Media. We'll look at what's been in the news for employment trends. We'll go through our hot jobs for the week, as well as a video for one of our temp roles. And our guest today will be Shavneel from the Auckland office, talking about one of the new phenomenon, which isn't a particularly positive one, quiet quitting. And as always, we'll look at our polls from the week before and the week ahead. Okay, so let's get started on Mahi Media. Okay, so there was a new study out this week, and it found one of the major findings was that tiredness, anxiety, and difficulty concentrating among some of the top causes of workplace stress. And as a result of that, 1 in 4 employees are planning on changing jobs in the next 12 months. So we have talked a lot about burnout over the last few years, really, and a big cause of that build-up of stress right now is understaffing. So, you're in that situation where it's been a tough couple of years, but now we're seeing you're expected to do more work with less people. And as a result of that can be some poor work-life balance as well. So last week we talked about the great regret, though. So those 1 in 4 employees planning on making that change, it's not always that they find that the grass is greener when they've made the move. So we gave some tips on how you can ensure that your next move is the right move and a positive outcome for you. So check out the broadcast from last week if you missed it. Some great tips there on things to consider and I guess the right way of going about making a move in your career. Now, I'm sure you've heard the latest buzzword, quiet quitting. So you may not have handed in your resignation just yet. But for some people, the effort that they're putting in, they may as well have. So I'll leave that up to Shavneel. He's going to go through that in some more detail later on in the show. So let's go through and look at some of the jobs that we're featuring this week. Okay, so first up is a solutions developer. So a bit of a different role than we usually have coming out of the office in Wellington. So this one's a salary between 100 and 120,000 and looking for someone who can contribute to that software development process, particularly around architecture design, as well as the technical governance of various projects. So we're looking for someone with 2+ years experience in either a developer or a consulting position. And for this one, if you're interested in the role, give Sophia a call from our Wellington office. Okay, now we have a compliance analyst position. This one's based in Auckland CBD and offering a flexible salary dependent on experience. So this one they're looking for, it's working within financial services. So they're looking at experience in brokerage compliance specifically, and you will be involved in updating and reviewing policies and procedures, as well as marketing and training material. And looking within, again, if you do have that experience within a capital market or brokerage sector within New Zealand, that will be a big bonus for the role. If you're interested in this role, contact Simi from our Auckland office. And last up, so we're going all the way across the country today. So this one's based in Whangarei, a senior data analyst, and paying $43 per hour. This one's providing information support to regional and national teams within the education sector. So looking at collection and primarily analysis of quantitative and qualitative data. For this one, if you're interested in the role, contact Shavneel, who you'll see on screen very shortly. So let's go through, and there is a temporary position that Kirsty has a video for us.
Kia ora. I am working with a tech company that's based in Auckland Central that's looking for an accounts payable professional to join their team on a temporary basis. The role is starting as soon as possible and it's going on for around about a 2-month period. They are looking for someone that has got that accounts payable experience, so you've had exposure. It isn't high levels that you're going to be dealing with, but there is going to be some bank reconciliations as well as foreign currency transactions, so they do want you to have had exposure to those areas. In terms of pay, they are looking to pay up to around about $35 an hour plus your 8% holiday pay. So if you are interested and you're looking for a job in the city centre, then please do get in contact with me on the details shown below.
Okay, hi Shavneel. Oh, I think we might still be having some technical difficulties there.
No, there we go.
There we go, just fooling us. Okay, so this year it's been all about buzzwords the last probably 6 months or so. So we've talked about the Great Resignation or the Great Quit, the Great Regret, and now we have quiet quitting. So what's that all about?
So quiet quitting is about doing the bare minimum of work. It's about only doing what's required of you without actually telling your boss you're leaving. That might mean finishing work on time, always taking your lunch break, or turning down projects that are outside of your job specifications. While even though there are some arguments to be made from both employers and employees about whether this trend is good or bad, it's important to also ensure that when you resign properly in terms of it. Landing a new gig is exciting, knowing that you will be getting a better salary and one step closer to your dream jobs within in less than 4 weeks. Going through interviews and meeting new people, etc. However, people often find going through interviews is not the hardest part of seeking employment, but rather exiting their current workplace peacefully. It's important when leaving your job that you maintain a good relationship with your current supervisor slash colleagues and don't burn your bridges. Here are some few tips that you can do that help you do waltz out of the door gracefully. Before submitting your resignation, make sure you are prepared and 100% committed to leaving. Make it clear if you are interested in a counter offer or not. Stand your ground politely and ensure not to waste your current employer's time. If you need to resign with a particular person, try and schedule a meeting with them or go and see them in person. Give them a polite but clear resignation letter so that they have formal proof that you are terminating your employment with them. Do not do it over the phone. Also, just consider how many weeks notice you should give. Most places require like a 4-week minimum. Although if it is in your capability, just try and see if you could stay a bit longer as a gesture of goodwill and maybe help with that handover period. And it is appropriate to ask your current employer for a reference check if your next role is relevant within the current role. And if you have a good professional relationship with your current employer, it just makes it a bit more easier. Schedule a private meeting with your manager, be honest, and express your appreciation for the opportunities they have given you. So that's a bit about the quiet quitting, as well as maybe how you can tackle that gracefully if you are looking to just do the bare minimum while you are on the job hunt as well.
Okay. So what about the people? So those are the examples you gave there were
Yeah,
people who were planning to quit and maybe
yeah,
just hadn't quite got around to the actual resignation part, and then how
yeah.
they can do that. What about the ones who haven't made that decision yet, but they may as well have because they're just doing the bare minimum at work? What are some of the risks of taking that approach?
So in terms of risks, in my experience, what I would say is if it's something that you are looking at and just not looking to quit, but you have that bare minimum, maybe just speak to your manager. Say, hey, look, in the past, this is my performance that has been. Um, this is how I've performed in the past, and currently, what I am looking for is seeing if there could be additional responsibilities with a promotion in place, things like that as well. In terms of risks, if they haven't actually quit, I would say something might be just sort of like the manager might approach you, shoulders happy, in terms of just trying to see different ways they could help maybe uh, get you motivated back into sort of like going above and beyond, or like sort of just trying to help you be motivated in terms of within the company. And just it's always good just to speak to your manager anyways, just to see how you could uh, get that motivation back, sort of get that drive back, and see how you guys can come to a middle ground, I'd say.
Yeah, that's great advice, Shavneel. So I think a lot of the time, and one of the key parts of your advice there is about you can't do anything about the problem if you don't know what the problem is. So if
Yeah,
you're not satisfied or something's not working in your current role, the best thing to do is to be able to talk through that and see if there's a way forward. One of the risks, if you do just make that decision and kind of take the foot off the accelerator and cruise along, is that you might not slip under the radar for forever.
yeah,
And you could be in a position where you lose your role without something to go to. So you don't
yeah,
want that. And you talked about not burning bridges. So that's absolutely right there.
yeah,
I think I'm sure there's lots of different reasons for this trend that we're seeing in quiet quitting, but definitely one of the big drivers is going to be around pay. So, we've talked a lot this year about increased living costs, and there are some good rises in wages and salaries, but not quite up to that level. So, a lot of the time there's a term, minimum wage, minimum effort, moderate wage, moderate effort. So a big part of that is to be able for employers to be able to do what they can to make sure that people feel that they're being rewarded appropriately for their work, and the level of work. So a little bit, I guess, of this is you get what you pay for, in a way.
yeah.
Thank you for that, Shavneel.
No
Okay,
worries.
let's move on to the polls. All right, so last week we were talking about the great resignation, and for people who did make that move, if they regretted leaving their old job for a new one. So we had 83%, so overwhelmingly said, no, I made the move and it was the right decision. So good for those people that it's turned out well. I think even though it's by far in the minority at 17%, 17% is still quite a few people who are going, oh, actually, it wasn't all that I thought it was going to be. So interesting to see the results there. Okay, let's see what we're asking this week. All right, so on with the theme of quiet quitting. So we're going to ask, and remember, these ones are anonymous, so they're not going to come back to bite you. So have you considered quiet quitting? Yes, I have. No, I haven't. Or no, I haven't, but I know that a co-worker definitely has. So let's see what the results are there. Okay, that is it for today. Thanks for joining us and on this beautiful sunny day. And we will be back promptly at 12:30 next week. Love to see you then. Ngā mihi nui.